Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy coming at you with a new review. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. If you follow my channel, you know that this episode comes out every single Friday, and I hope I am the first one to wish you a wonderful weekend. You have seen the title, you have seen the description, so we of course are taking a look at none other than Sunshine Man by Amouage, my favorite house, which is a 2015 aromatic. So I have a few things I want to say before we dive in on the notes. Number one is thank you to Ramsey. Ramsey reached out and sent me 5 decants from my favorite house. It was nice enough to do that. Thank you very much, Ramsey. And this is the 4th out of 5. So that means that next week is the end of the road for these decants. But I have thoroughly enjoyed the last month. It has been a blast. And yes, pun intended. The second thing is, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it was Imitation Man that did this, but we have had yet another huge splash of new subscribers since last Friday. I'm very touched by that. I really appreciate that. In fact, I was thinking, you know, in 2019, December of 19, I was so happy because I hit the graphite level for the channel, which means I got my first 100 subscribers. And then you get your own URL, right? You can say / that Cologne Guy. I was very, very happy in touch then, and here we are now approaching 400 subscribers. You guys are incredible. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. In fact, I wanted to mention to the subscribers one thing. I read recently where there's been a big dip apparently in YouTube channels having their subscribers find their episodes. What I mean to say is that if people who watch this channel on a smartphone, apparently that a lot of the notifications aren't working or need to be, turned on again. I'm not sure. So I will put that episode. There's an episode that walks you through how to do that. I'll put that in the description box. So if you do watch my channel and you watch it only on a smartphone, check that out and make sure that you are getting your notifications for this channel. That would mean a lot to me. I recently looked at my analytics. I don't usually do that. I'm not really a numbers guy. I just enjoy having this conversation. I did see though that the bulk of my viewers actually are non-subscribers. So I think that's what's happened. I think what's happened is a lot of the subscribers are not seeing when the episode comes out on Friday. So please turn on the notification bell. And if you're watching me on a smartphone, make sure that you also turn on that notification and/or watch that video that I'll put down below. And I hope that helps. Thank you very much for that. It means a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, if you stumbled on because you wanted to see Sunshine Man and/or you are a subscriber, I guess, from last Friday, there are a couple things that are different about my channel. Number one is I have a 5-spray system, which means at the end of each review, I spray the exact number of out of 5 that I give for the fragrance onto myself. The second thing is my reviews, I'm a smaller channel, so of course I'm unsponsored. The bad news for that, of course, is I don't have full bottle giveaways every week. But the good news is I am fiercely independent. I am unbiased. And what's most important to me is I'm unscripted. I like to have this conversation with you. I really enjoy having this chat each and every weekend, and then it parlays into comments, and we go back and forth throughout the week. It's so much fun for me. I tried one time to have the app where you have the script come down and you can't see it, but I can, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just not going to do that. I don't like it. I like to talk to you. So the channel is slightly different in that sense. The third thing that's really cool about this channel is, again, with the analytics, I looked at gender, and I'm happy to say it's really cool. 52% male, 48% female. So that's awesome because we have the most diverse international group here, and that means so much to me. Every day I comment back and forth with someone from a different state, region, country, language. That is so cool. I just have so much fun doing that. The last point I'll make is, of course, I am not an expert in the field. This is my hobby. This is my passion, and I enjoy sharing that with you. So one of the things I do in my episodes is I like to actually define some of the terms just simply because a lot of times it's so that I myself understand. So like last week I defined what a chypre is, and that's just because when I first started looking at these YouTube reviewers, they would drop all these terms, and years ago, and I didn't know what it meant. So I enjoy talking about things and defining notes, etc., etc. It's just a lot of fun. All right, so let's dive in on the notes. This, of course, is a lavender blast initially. So besides the lavender, that's not an issue, right? Everyone's going to get the lavender. You do get a really nice hint of orange, and I like the orange here. For me personally, the initial blast, what helps it is the orange. Then you get, I know that it's brandy because, and for granted it's listed as brandy. I would have said a liqueur, but actually before I started recording, I was thinking to myself, is brandy a spirit or a liqueur? And I think it's a spirit, so I'm going to go with that. Anyway, you get my point. There is definitely a syrupy, sweet, alcoholic note there. And of course, for granted, you list that as brandy. So after that, though, what's interesting about that is the fourth note that they list is immortelle. And I did not know what that was. I can only tell you that when I first sprayed it, I got a blast of chamomile. Okay, and why is that important? I'm going to read a little, just for like 5 seconds I'll read, and I notice sometimes this camera will go a little bit different, a little choppy when I'm reading, so bear with me here. But I wanted to read for you what immortelle is. So it's IMMORTELLE. And it says, immortelle is a shapeshifter and can smell like maple syrup, smoky tea, burnt sugar, a little salty like fresh hay or golden tobacco, depending on how the parfumé uses it and what other ingredients are in the composition. Why is that important? Because I definitely get chamomile, which ends up being immortelle, but notice they mention tea, and it's like, to me, it's like chamomile with a dab of maple syrup. It's certainly not burnt sugar, so I would say, like, that's why I said maple syrup and some sugar, but not burnt. Yeah, I don't get a burnt quality here. So it's like chamomile, a dab of maple syrup, and just a little bit of sugar in there. And that's really what this immortelle is doing here, mixed with a beautiful orange and then a lavender. So that's the initial blast. Then after that, things go into juniper berries, which is one of my favorite notes. I will say, though, that the juniper berry to me seems very toned down here. But that's just what I what I picked up. And then the last one, of course, is the big one is vanilla. I mean, this one is I would call this, to me, a vanilla bomb. All right, so forget spice bomb. Let's go vanilla bomb. That's just me. I don't have a lot of vanilla-based fragrances. I don't dislike them. I just don't have a lot of them. And so here's what I would say about Sunshine Man. When you hear lavender and you hear vanilla, you think, yep, Cologne. So I think it's Caron. But you guys know it's the green bottle, and it's the famous barber shop fragrance from France, and it looks like Karen or Caron. It's Caron, Cologne, but I don't know how you pronounce it, but it is from the 1930s. It's a classic. It's a staple. And for those of you who love the barbershop fragrances, people absolutely love it. And it comes in this enormous bottle if you want to buy that. And I think, you guys can correct me, but I think it's a splash on, but it might not be. But I know at least I saw one that was just mammoth, and it was a splash on. So here's what I think is happening. The parfumé behind Sunshine Man is Pierre Negrin. And I didn't read this, but here's my take. I feel like this is his attempt to create a modern, contemporary, hipster, artistic, new take on a barbershop fragrance. That's my take. This is absolutely not a clone or copy by any stretch of the imagination of the Caron Poirot. Not at all. I will say, though, it seems like it's almost adding the different notes on top of that to create something that is contemporary and unique. And I really appreciate that. So first and foremost, I want to say, you guys know, for niche companies, one of the big things is you always want is that they take chances. I like that this is a non-Amouage release. I appreciate that. So it's kind of like music, right? So certain bands, you want them exactly to do the same style every single album, and you do not want them to change at all. And then other bands, you actually expect them to change and evolve, and you like that about them. That's kind of like with Amouage. It's a niche company, so you don't expect them to put out exactly the same type of thing with incense or myrrh every single time. I have no problem with that. I like the fact that they're trying to do something different. So here's my take. This is almost like Sunshine Man, is that their attempt to get into the barber shop fragrance market. Okay, that's my take, and I'll tell you later which way I would go on that. But that's my take on this. I really thought a lot about it this week because I cannot get out of my head my initial reaction. There are very few fragrances for which I actually changed my opinion. Probably I can count on one hand actually how many times I've didn't like one, like Fahrenheit, and then I later loved it, or at least changed my opinion, maybe even from a love to a dislike. Usually the first reaction I have is the one that stays. This one is no different, and I will say this. Here's what I strongly feel with Sunshine Man. I strongly feel like I have went into the woods. I've been hiking. And then I decide to have a picnic. And then guess what I pull out? I pull out... This is the second week in a row, actually, that I'm doing pop. Okay, so this must be like National Pop Awareness month. Okay, because I'm going to do it again. Actually, I promise I won't next week. In fact, I was looking at another fragrance that I like this week, and they said it smelled like Sprite. So this must just be seriously pop month, or soda, or Coke, or soft drink, or whatever you say. So I'm going to go there again because this smells exactly like vanilla Coke. And actually, just like Ruby Red Squirt last week, it has also been discontinued, although apparently it's wildly popular in the UK. So that's kind of random. You can tell me if that's true. This, to me, smells, in the first 3 hours, really like vanilla Coke. Then after that, it starts to evolve a little bit more for me. So I guess the question that I would ask is can I get past the initial blast? Because I'm not a huge fan of the first 3 hours. So what I would say is this. Oftentimes I say I can because in the first hour or two, a lot of you guys are commuting. You put on fragrance. Think about it. You shower, you put on fragrance. Then you might eat breakfast, get the kids off to school, whatever your lifestyle is, get to work, and that frame right there is about an hour and a half to 2. So a lot of times, if you don't like the initial blast, you can live with it because by the time you're getting around people and settling down, your fragrance is starting to evolve. I have to say though that for me, for this one, I don't know that I can get past the initial 3 hours. It's close. It's a close call. So to me, it's almost like either football or baseball, if you allow a sports analogy. I would say it's almost like, let's go with baseball. All right. So your team just gave up a whole bunch of home runs to start the game, and you're down like 5-0. And little by little, you chip away, and you almost come from behind in the 9th inning. It's 5-4 now. You've got some guys on first and second, and nobody out, and you just can't seal the deal. So that's kind of like Sunshine Man for me. And yes, in post, I will be booing myself for saying that. This is close. This is a close like for me. I appreciate what they're doing. I really do. And I like the modern, contemporary take on a barbershop fragrance. If in fact that's what it is. To me, that's what it is. I have to say though, and I'll boo myself again, I would reach for the Cologne Pomme first. I really would. I'm not a huge fan here of the barbershop fragrances. So here's why some people are going to be passionately against what I just said. If you like lavender, first and foremost, and vanilla, and if you like the barbershop fragrances, then you will absolutely love this, and I will be happy for you. I'm just saying that this one is just not really my thing. Appreciate what they're doing. Don't think it's for me. So let's take a look at the longevity, etc., etc. So the projection is close to typical Amouage. Projection is fantastic. It is definitely an arm's length for the first solid 3 hours, actually, and then it even stays very, even like an elbow's length away up until like 5-6 hours, and then it starts to settle down around that until about 8-9 hours. So this is great. You will love the projection and the longevity for this fragrance. Sillage is quite good. I wouldn't say it's as good as like Imitation Man, but as far as like coming in and out of rooms and stuff and leaving a scent trail, people will pick it up, but I wouldn't call it a bomb. All right, I wouldn't call it. So I guess we can't call it a vanilla bomb, but the Sillage was I would say just average for me when it comes to this fragrance. So okay, let's take a look at gender now. When it comes to this one to me is unisex. This one is a unisex fragrance with the lavender, the vanilla. It just smells fantastic. This one I would put right down the pike, and I would say it is a unisex fragrance. I know though that they do a Sunshine Man and Sunshine Woman, and by the way, they are different bottles. And so the Sunshine Man bottle is absolutely gorgeous. It has like rays of sun on it, and it's just a beautiful bottle. So is the woman's, although that one is only, I think, it's all orange or all yellow. I can't recall, but it's one solid color. So they're both very beautiful bottles. So I would say this is unisex. When it comes to age, I'm going to probably go like I did Imitation Man and say I think 35 and up when it comes to this one. I just think that with the kind of barbershop quality, I think a lot of the guys in their 20s are going to be turned off by this one. That's just my take. And a lot of the orthodox Amouagists might be turned off as well because it's not a traditional release. So I'll go with, let's go with 35 and up on that. When it comes to season, we'll call this definitely, it's sunshine, right? So we have to call this, I would call it spring, probably a spring, spring, summer, and even into the fall. I would say I don't know why this would be like a fall, and this would work well in the heat. Actually, this would work well for me. So I'm going to say all seasons but winter when it comes to this fragrance. So let's look at event. One great thing about this one is the high versatility. This one is definitely going to be Unlike Imitation Man, where it is just, really, really, really specific, this is definitely for the, like, hey, I just want to smell nice crowd. And this would be another one, would be a great gift. I don't see how anyone could dislike this one. Outright dislike it. Might be a little neutral on it. Foreshadowing. And so Sunshine Man to me is highly versatile, and I do appreciate that about this one. I really can't think. Actually, I would say this is more of a daytime if I had to. I would say this is more of a daytime fragrance for me and not so much for the night. But, you could pull this off in the night. I'm just trying to think about where I would wear this the most. It would be the office. It would be during the day. And if I had a romantic night out, I would not reach for this one. So there you have it. Actually, that is Sunshine Man, and I really battled this week with my, I tried so hard to go kind of against my initial reaction. This is definitely, it's got. Oh, by the way, and I didn't mention earlier the note in the base notes. Pardon me, which was cedar. So this has cedar in it, and that's why I was saying I feel like I'm walking through some woods here, which to me the cedar along with the lavender and vanilla seems a little. Slightly random, and it's got tonka bean as well, so I'm not really sure. This is just all over the map, this fragrance. That's my take on it. I'm going to say it was close to a 2 out of 5. Yep, and I know it's sacrilegious, but I'm going to go 3 out of 5 sprays for Sunshine Man, and I'm taking into consideration the beauty of the bottle. I'm also taking into consideration that a lot of you guys are ardent barbershop fragrance people. And you would say, how dare you, right? How dare you say this is not amazing because it's just so well blended. I give them props for trying something new. If I were to reach for an atypical Amouage release, I would absolutely go Beach Hut. Beach Hut Man rules. I love Beach Hut Man, and I would say this one for me would be more of an office scent, perhaps in the spring. That's where I would wear this fragrance. So I'm going to go 3 out of 5 sprays for Sunshine Man. All right, so let me just say, to clarify, 3 out of 5 sprays for me. And you guys know my system that if it's 1 or 2, it's a no-go. And then 4 out of 5 for me is an absolutely have it in my collection. So 3 out of 5. I have to say that for me, it would probably be more of a pass, and I would probably buy the Cologne pour homme, as I mentioned, the Cologne pour homme. But that said, if I got it on an exchange or if I found it through eBay or something, I would definitely consider it, especially because the bottle itself is absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to clarify that for me, it's a 3 out of 5, and I would have it in my collection under certain circumstances. And if if this is your signature, if you absolutely love it, please let us know. I would really appreciate, and I love hearing from you. So 3 out of 5, we're going to go 1 on each wrist and 1 on the chest for Sunshine Man by Amouage. 2015 aromatic. Absolutely appreciate what they're doing, but maybe a little neutral on this one. Okay. Boom. And that's all she wrote. Sunshine Man by Amouage. Thank you so much for all of your support in this channel. I really appreciate it. I hope, when you review a fragrance like Imitation Man, it is so much fun when you really, really like one. But I have to tell you, I really enjoy doing a review in which I'm a little lukewarm on a fragrance. Especially something like this. Initially, I was just like, I felt like I had vanilla Coke coated on my skin. What is this? When you first don't care for something in the fragrance community, it's fun really because you get over the course of time, you get a chance to really appreciate the different nuances of this fragrance. I've really, really enjoyed going through, and I hope you appreciate my offering. I have no idea if Pierre Negrin actually had that in mind. All I could think of was like, all these barbershop fragrances, and I could see how someone would sit there in a room, in a meeting and say, what we need to do, what there's a market out there for is a modern barbershop fragrance. In fact, let me know what you think is a modern, contemporary barbershop fragrance. I would love to hear that. I really appreciate it because I'm still probably stuck on, and will probably buy that mammoth bottle of the Cologne pour homme. I love that stuff. So really appreciate everything. Have a great week. And always remember, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. You guys know that I do my episodes in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, so oftentimes I'll comment back and forth with somebody in a Portuguese or Spanish-speaking country as well. It is so much fun. On Fragrantica, a lot of times people will talk about, there's this group that likes fragrances because they just want to compliment Getter, and this group over here just wants to like fragrances because they like them. They don't care what others think, and they kind of go back and forth and bicker. We don't have any of those problems here because at that Cologne crew, we all just are a diverse international group of people who all are interested in one thing, and that is the joy of wearing fragrance. We have people who like cheapies here. We have people who like niche. We have people who like designer. We have people who look specifically for men's colognes. We have people who look for women's perfumes, unisex. The list goes on, and I have so much fun talking about this with you.